Welcome to the Life of Monkey Music, Katrina. I'm a big fan. You
Hi,
have
Sean.
a beautiful, beautiful voice, and I'm
Thank you.
glad to see you're continuing to make music. Makes me
Yeah,
very
sure.
happy.
Well, it's the only thing I know how to do. When I was about 16 years old, started getting into music. My only other job was bagging groceries, mowing
Yeah,
lawns, babysitting, and washing dishes. Washing dishes was my longest job outside of this one, and that was 5 years working in an American military-based chow hall here in England. I live in London, and yeah, that was a nightmare, and I've got the dishpan hands to prove it. But it was actually
this
one of my
day.
favorite. It was kind of a favorite thing to do because I don't know. There's something rewarding about just washing hundreds of dishes a day. But don't quote me
It's
on that. And I
therapeutic,
don't.
right? The
Yeah,
warm
I
water,
mean,
though.
yeah, and you got to know some really interesting people. You know, the GIs who were
Yeah.
homesick, and I always remember at the Chow Hall the Christmases and all of the holidays were really hard for a lot of these guys because you don't realize how young some of the GIs are who are going in. For people who don't know, you can sign up for the military at a very, very young age. And for a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
guys, they're straight out of high school. It's the first job they've ever done. It's the first time
Right.
they've been out of America for the ones who are based in England. And they're homesick as heck. So
It's
yeah,
different. It's not like you go to college when you're 18 and you can kind of come back for Christmas vacation. You have control, you have the comforts of home of
yeah,
your McDonald's or whatever it is. You're in another country and you have no
yeah.
control.
And the
And
whole thing
that's,
about being in the military is also the discipline of the whole thing. I grew up in a military family. My father was in the Air Force, and it was really strict. You know, it was the classic, I need two volunteers for KP, you and you. And there was like my no nonsense dad who was just
yeah,
always in his uniform. He was never out of his uniform. People used to joke and say
really.
that he wore a uniform to bed and all
The
that.
pajamas with the little badges on it and stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, on the manky
Pinned
old
on.
white
Yeah,
sweatshirt, that white T-shirt he always used to wear, Fruit of the Loom or
yeah.
something.
That's hilarious. And it's funny. Do you think, and a couple of musicians I've spoken to that are actually have, I guess, the term army bred or, being in the military, being raised, it kind of already puts you in a different mindset as a child to travel and be a musician and be around different people, types of people. Do you think that affected you in a way, like it kind of helped lean you into that or prepare
Yeah,
you to sort of,
100%. Like the Anne and Nancy Wilson in Heart,
right?
their father was in the military. Emmylou Harris's father was in the military. Chrissie
Eric
Hines' father
Martin
was
from
in the
Mr.
military.
Big was in it too.
Yeah,
Another
I'll
one.
tell you, what it sets you up for is that you're really happy touring. You're really happy
Mhm.
staying in hotels. I get really bored if I have to stay in one place for too
Yeah,
long. I'm very, very happy being on the move. I'm happiest when I'm staying in a hotel.
right.
Not an old flea bag, but I did used to love some of the old motels that now don't seem to exist across America. Have you noticed that? So, I mean, I
There's probably a
really,
good reason. A lot of those with the black lights, there's probably better they're gone. You really want to.
yeah, they've kind of turned
Yeah.
into something else now, some of those
Yeah.
motels, but
Yep.
they were very, very sweet with the neon lights and just the comfort of it. Although I remember staying in a motel with my parents once in Vegas. I was about 6 years old and taking the sheet back and there was this huge piece of salami just in the bed. Like, did you really change the sheet? How did this salami get
Oh,
here?
that's so gross. That's so gross.
And
I
it
have
was,
such a fear of hotels. It's not going to help me. Oh, well.
do you have a fear of hotels?
It's just germs. It's so gross because they
Yeah.
never wash things. The top sheet is never washed. Like you're going to come in on vacation, you sit down, you got your bathing suit, like you're like, you don't want your bare legs to touch the chairs or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just because you don't know.
No,
People are
forget
so
about that
dirty.
top cover. The top cover
Oh yeah.
comes off immediately, and then all is revealed. But like I said, I am unenamored with those little motels now. I mean, it's just give me a good old fashioned chain. I'm good.
If I was you and I traveled, I'd have my own comforter, my own sheets. I'd have them changed when I
Right.
came in. I would literally be like, I'm not going to get tuberculosis from a blanket or a pillow. It's insane.
Tuberculosis.
I'm just
Okay.
saying some of those places are sketchy, right?
I
Um,
know, I know. But
but I
it
also
does.
think Yeah, it gives you a
it,
good work ethic too, though, too, right? Though, I mean, being the
well, yeah,
military
of
background, I
course. I
think
mean, and
all the people you mentioned are really hard musical workers that have survived through all the different venues and time periods of the music industry.
well,
You
that's it.
know?
I mean, you cannot slouch. It's like my parents had high expectations of us, and there was a level of discipline that you don't get in some families these days. I'm not saying all of
No.
them, but there was certainly very, very strict, and the rules back then were very different. It was kind of okay to get smacked around a little bit. I think my parents thought
Yeah,
that
jostled.
that was part of the discipline, and kind of quite severe at times, but we accepted it, and it certainly meant that there were six of us kids, five girls and one boy, and the boy
Wow.
came last. So can you imagine what my father is, he was really constantly worried about all of us. And
Ugh,
when me straight out of high school decided that I wanted to be like Chrissy Hind and I wanted to be like the Wilson sisters in Heart,
right.
they were horrified. And then the first job I got was washing dishes at the chow hall. And in the meantime, I did get in a band, but my parents weren't happy about it. So I was kicked out when I was 18, and that was kind of a favor. I'm glad they did
Really.
that. Yeah.
It made you survive. But do you think, and I heard this, I don't know, I read this or I saw a clip or something, and believe it or not, the internet is not always accurate. Were you actually, so you're playing underage, you're like 16, but with a band. Were you all, it said you're doing managing. Were you actually helping manage? It would make sense with your background, and usually young teenage girls are way more responsible than probably all the guys in the band to begin with. Was it true? Were you actually doing that early on?
Oh yeah, I made all the calls because I thought it would be more effective if a woman phoned up some of the managers from some of these clubs
Yeah.
all around the UK, and there were loads of them. A lot of them have closed down now. And I just said, I'm managing this band. We're called Mama's Cookin'. We play all this great American music, Led Zeppelin, Leonard Skinner, Heart, Pat Benatar,
Hmm.
Eagles, Steve Miller Band. And yeah, we got the gig. It was 4 45-minute sets a night, sometimes two of those. But the guys loved it. We were very, very popular. It was for no money whatsoever. And of course, I was playing in the clubs underage, but they didn't know that. They didn't need to know
Right.
that. But it was very, very great
Experience.
training.
I think it's almost like a rock and roll college for a lot of bands, but probably less nowadays when they do that. Whether it's during high school or those transition years, and you're doing the covers, it's like going to school and learning how to write a song and how to perform. Those are your musical college years of putting a sweat in, which is something you don't see as much nowadays. And I think it helps make you a better artist because I think the longevity and the quality of songwriting is so much better.
Of course. I mean, and if you're looking at a great artist like, hey, Sherry, would you let P out? Sorry, the poodle just wants out. If you are looking at great artists like Linda Ronstadt, and
Hmm.
the incredible voice,
Oh
or
yeah.
Ann Wilson, or in anybody of that caliber, Pat Benatar, and you're in a cover band and you're trying to cover these women, you're getting stretched, you're having to hit notes, do stuff, and
Hmm.
it was the best training ever, rather than kind of sitting in the room and writing a song. Then I felt so alone. You're really
Right.
out there and having to be stretched. And also because we were broke, we didn't have any money, and we couldn't really afford to take on any members of the group. I had to learn guitar. So that's when I just picked up rhythm guitar as well and got my Telecaster and my Fender Reverb Deluxe amp.
How old were you for that part when you started playing guitar?
Well, now I'm moving well, my parents bought me a nylon guitar, which was impossible to play. And that
Oh,
was
those are the
back
worst. I
when,
almost never played guitar because of that. I actually threw that one out as a kid and didn't play for years because it was so hard,
yeah, see
right?
how challenging some of those early guitars were. And at the time, I was 14 when my parents bought me my first guitar. So it's really all their fault. If they
Right?
hadn't kind of ignited something in me, and then you know how you do, you buy the songbooks, the Cat Stevens,
Yep.
Fleetwood Mac, Carole King, and then just one chord at a time, just as slow as you
It's
possibly
slow. I know it's
are.
funny. I was talking about that the other day, and nowadays it's like everything's on YouTube to learn a song.
Oh yeah, that
Even
yeah,
artists are going on YouTube to learn from kids. They go, I had to
yeah,
go on the other night to learn from a child how to do my guitar solo because we're on tour next, and I haven't played in a while.
yeah.
It's crazy,
Yeah, but
you
that's
know.
great, isn't it? Cut to the chase. I've done it myself, trying to figure out
Mhm.
chords to some stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's the same with cooking. It's really easy to watch somebody cook instead of read the recipe. So everything's become very visual.
Visuals, well, see one, do one has always been a thing for me. I have autism, so to me, visual once and copy once way different than reading. It's like another language. So that's a good thing. Do you think in your early years, your formative voice, because there's something special about your voice that, and I think it carries over is like why Walk on Sunshine didn't feel like such a huge hit. I mean, it would have been a big hit because poppy song, but there's a feeling in your voice, especially like certain times you sing, it's such a the emotion in it is like it's like a warm, it's like a very warm feeling, happy feeling. Like, I don't think anybody can listen to it without feeling good. This is very much a compliment. And there's no back anything I'm saying. And I listen to it, I've compared other people singing it, and I kind of get nerdy about it. I'm like, there's something very particular, comforting. And I know there's like science, like minute per beats and tones and frequencies that make people feel good. Something like your voice is got to be like scientifically in there about it, because it's like a home cooked meal or something. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is about this, and I think that's what makes it a super song because there's such a relating part of it. Because then you sing other songs beautifully in a different tone, like you sing, you have different ways of singing stuff, you
Hmm.
know. And I think your voice obviously sing for the moment for whatever song it is, and that's kind of like one of my favorite things about your voice. Because like like with Honey Lamb on the new single, you sing it a little bit differently, your tones a little bit differently, and it fits perfect. It's beautiful, you know. Are you conscious of that? Or is that just my imagination of what I'm hearing?
Well, what I'm conscious
The
of is
different
that,
ways of singing it.
yeah, my mother and father had really soft voices, and they were both really, really
Hmm.
good singers. And my mother had kind of a melodic way of speaking. She was from Kansas, and for example, she'd say something like, "Well, you can wash your stuff out here," and just to say, yeah, it was often, "Oh yeah." So it's
Yes,
quite
that's it right
quite
there.
warm
That's
and quite melodic, just one word. And it was the same in her singing. I've always loved a great melody, Karen Carpenter hitting the melody, Linda
mhm.
Ronstadt hitting the melody. I think that's extremely important. And I guess I naturally did it. Can't really take that much credit for it. Back in the day, people used to think that Walking on Sunshine was definitely sung by a black woman. And we went
Oh,
on
really?
Soul Train, and I think we went on Soul Train kind of early days. And I think the expectation was I did turn up, and everybody just said, "Well, we thought you were black." And I said, "Well, can we still be on the show?" They said, "Yeah, of course." But it's a bit of a shock. But I think Walking on Sunshine it has very, very melodic melody in the verses, and then of
Hmm.
course you go all guns blazing in the choruses. And so it's a nice little mixture. And that whoa whoa, I didn't think that I did. That was a huge reach, but thanks to having to follow
Yeah,
in the footsteps of, you know, Ann Wilson
yeah,
and Pat Benatar, it just forced it out in full voice. And there's something kind of exuberant and kind of life affirming about it. So um, we Sean, we got super lucky with that song because when we were signed with Capitol Records, it was never meant to be the first single. We were signed off the strength of a song of ours called "Do You Want Crying,"
that's a
and
good song too.
that is a good song. That's a very good song. We sent out a
I love
demo.
the bass in that too. That bass is awesome. That song
The the
also.
bass.
The
Oh
bass guitar in that song, I
yeah.
love it. And the sound of that too.
All right. I must notice that sometime.
There's a bass in case you get around to it. Yeah, because it follows right.
And for those
Right.
drums, a lot of it was looped by Scott Litt. And that was at the power station in New York City. And we were one of Scott Litt's first victims. He went on to do REM, Indigo Girls, and Nirvana.
Yep.
And Scott was absolutely crazy. We had the midnight shift, so we'd be walking into the. Have you heard of the power station?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yep.
Power
I only
station.
hear artists get the midnight shift. I've never heard an artist say they had the daytime. I don't think I've never met an artist that actually recorded the daytime. Everyone has been successful has been had to do it at night. It's crazy.
Have you done an interview with Diana Ross or Brian Ferry? Because
No,
trust me, they didn't have the midnight
no.
shift.
I haven't talked to Diana. Has anybody done an interview with Diana Ross in a while? No.
So we'd be walking in at midnight. Diana Ross would be
Right.
walking out. Right. She's, going to have a late night dinner in New York City or whatever. And we're just getting going. And Scott decided that although Walking on Sunshine had been recorded for a small label called Attic in Canada, um, Capitol thought, we'll re-record all those old songs that you've done before. And so we got that great drum sound from the power station in New York City.
Okay.
And then Scott looped a lot of that, and the song actually kind of speeds up as it goes along, but it doesn't matter. But once we got all the songs recorded for the first album with Capitol, they sent out a little taster to all the radio stations that had 4 songs on it. Do You Want Crying, Red Wine and Whiskey, a song called Que Te Quiero, and finished off with Walking on Sunshine. Well, the DJs got hold of it and they said, it's not Do You Want Crying, it's the Sunshine song, because they love the drum intro. They love the
Uh,
drum intro into "Ow," because they could
yeah.
talk over it. Good morning, everybody.
Okay.
We're waking up. It's
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
KFRC. We're all feeling good. And then, ow. And then you're into the horn. And so, when we first went into the power station, it didn't have the drum intro. So that was Scott Litt, and a great idea.
It would help. Well, I think to me, one of the things I think is obviously the big song everybody knows, but I also like to focus on what we've done since then because you're still doing music and it's always important to, I think, to keep talking. I want people to know. I think the significance with that is I think he did a good job in capturing also in the recording of capturing your voice for the world to hear it, to get it out there, you know, because you've continued to have that great voice through a whole
Yeah,
career up until now. I mean, your voice is still so strong and beautiful. Like it hasn't wavered.
thank
You
you.
know, I mean, I'm sure as a singer, you've had pockets of time where you maybe had struggles and colds or flu. You know what I'm saying? But as
Yeah.
a performer, I don't think I've ever seen a bad live thing from you. You know, and everything recorded is, fine. I'm sure, you know, have you ever had a challenge with your voice like that, or do you have to maintain it at this level at this point?
No,
It's a
not
lot
at
of
all.
miles of singing live. It's a lot for some people.
Yeah, so what? It's not like going down into the mines. It's not like a proper, a really hard job, which is what my grandfather did, which is something I always think about. And I think, come on, Katrina, you're not going down to the mines.
I
Uh,
love that line because I say that all the time to people. I go, I'm not, sorry, a hard day at work. I'm like, well, I wasn't a canary in a cage gone in a mine. I say it all the time.
yeah,
So,
I mean, come on. I'm really lucky to do what I do. And I try not to think about it too much, Sean. I have a couple of
no, no,
beers
but
before
it's
I
a
go on
strain.
stage.
It's a physical strain though. You know, as we get older, our voices change. It's
Nah.
a challenge.
No, you can tell by my last name I have an Eastern European background, so I'm as
Right.
strong as an ox.
That's strong. Yeah, strong like bear. Yes. I talk to a lot of singers, so it's like always a different viewpoint on it. Has your songwriting changed because of the times of the way the music industry's been, or has it kind of always been the same? I mean, there's music. You've been at a point where the industry changed a lot. Like you've seen the whole gamut. You know, as a songwriter, is it challenges and then just the creative process change for you, or is it kind of still the same? Get a guitar or a melody, or you know what I'm saying, over
Yeah, no,
time.
it's exactly the same as it's always been. Wait for something to feel good, wait for a goosebump, and wait for you feel like you'd be proud to play it to somebody else. Because as soon as you play it to somebody else, it comes under a different kind of microscope. And I
Mhm.
don't pay any attention about any modern music. I mean, I've always got the radio on some sort of 24-hour jazz station. I
Right.
generally prefer music when there's no singing, unless it's Ella Fitzgerald or, some of my heroes. But even then, I find it too tiring and too draining. No, I don't give a damn. I mean, I've lost writing partners because they're so intimidated by AI. Oh, I don't think I can ever write another song. I put into AI to write a song about a road trip, and it wrote this brilliant song. Why torture yourself? Just sit down and write a song about a road trip and don't worry about it. Obviously the world is changing, but you have to let the future generations move with the changes of the world because we're going to be dead soon. That's always a reassurance to me.
That's a bumper sticker. I want you to trim it down, but that'll be a bumper sticker we'll sell. Do you?
It's not my worry. I don't have any children.
I know. Actually, it's funny.
Soon
You
will be
reiterate a lot
dead
of
in
things
a
I say
couple of years.
too. No, but it's funny because I say with AI, it's not going to change things too much because you're not going to go to see a show with AI on a stage. AI is not going to play a club. Just like with like drum machines, we're going to get rid of drummers. We still have drummers. Everything's going to kind of peak out at a certain point. And yeah, anything can copy anything. You have photocopies and stuff. Did it change people being artists when the photocopy machine came out? Is it a little more extreme right now? Yes, but I think it's not going to be the baby with the bathwater. Everything's going to go out. Real, true, authentic singers and performance songwriters is going to make it through. Might be weird for a while because everything like popular things are popular for a while. But does it mean it's going to change the world? No, I don't.
No, and
I don't think so.
I kind of think on that front, my work here is done. I'm sure you talk to a lot of people who think, oh, oh, my legacy is the songs I leave behind. I don't really care about it one way or another. Just kind of keep going, keep doing it. Know that there's some stuff that I've already done that was pretty good and still stands up, and then just get on with it, and then think about what I'm going to have for lunch, where you know, I'm going to the pub in 5 minutes when I'm done with you, Sean. Like, I don't care.
You're so chill. You're like, I don't even wear a watch anymore. I have pants without pockets. I'm just totally going in, sweatpants by 7. This is it. We're doing matinee shows, right? I
I'm
got
in
it. I'm
London. It's
feeling it.
already dark here. I mean, there's only one
I
thing
know.
for it, and it's the pub. Come on.
Oh, right. All right. It is true. It is very true.
Where are
But
you?
it's
Where are
I'm in
you?
America. In America, right in New England. I'm in New England. So it's
What state?
11:30 in the morning. Connecticut.
Oh, Connecticut. Yeah, I played in
Yep.
Connecticut. Broggs something or other.
Toad's place.
Toad's Place. Yeah, Broggs
Mhm.
something or another. Yeah,
No, that's
Toad's
good
Place.
though, because the image looks like a frog because you don't really think of a toad standing up with a hat or whatever it is, whatever the image
Yes.
is. You always think of a frog. You don't think of a toad.
Does that
Yeah.
still exist in Connecticut?
Yeah.
That club?
Yep. It is. It's an
Wow.
interesting club. It's kind of hard for performers though, because the way the design is so weird to kind of get in as a fan to see the show. You know,
Really?
I'm sure as a performer you probably had challenges there, but it's good. It's a good venue though. It's legendary.
Hmm.
I think there was a
I don't
documentary done about it recently.
really. I don't
Yeah.
remember the stage. I don't normally remember stages, but I usually remember backstage because, of course,
Yep.
that's where the beers are.
Right. That's for the after stage. But sometimes you have to like walk through a crowd, which is kind of hard for an artist to do. It's not about being like I can't see anybody. It's like I need a break. Like even at work, I need to go from one place to another, take a minute to get my head straight
Yeah,
without somebody grabbing me in the hallway for something else. You just need a
sure.
minute.
Yeah.
So that's I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've been there. If I remember, if they have a good setup like that. But it's a legendary venue. They really are, and people are still going to it. They're still doing things. Um, what about you for touring? Because I mean, the world's really changed now with COVID and not even the
Yeah.
climate. Not even going to get to the pinnacle of climate. How is it for you for touring? I know because of obviously the Sunshine song, but you've got new singles out and new music on, which allows doors to be open for some of the great 80s packages, which are huge, which gets you a lot more ears and people listening, you know.
Yeah.
But you had a limited time for songs you can do. But it's a great opportunity. Some artists like that better, a shorter set. What are you better at? Do you think you don't really mind either way, or like felt
No,
like
I
you're kind
do
of
them all.
casual?
I do them all. I do a lot of parties because of the element of joy in the song "Walking on Sunshine." I kind of counted on to get the party started or
Mhm.
finish some great party or something. There's also another aspect to my career in Europe is that there's something called the Eurovision Song Contest, which a lot
Mhm.
of Americans don't know about. I'm the only American to have won it, and that was in 1997. And once you win that, you're sort of it becomes an annual um, phone phone ringing
Okay.
time, usually around May, because people want you to come and perform your winning song. And the 80s ensemble tours and shows are pretty much my bread and butter. And there's also like an 80s cruise
Yep.
in America. There's a lot of 80s tours you can jump on. Admittedly, there are fewer now, but there's still enough to keep us going. And we are sadly at an age, or maybe a relief to some 80s artists, that it's the end of the road for some of them. Something happened, or
Right.
they're just dead. So that really is the end of the road, isn't it?
That does. When you die, it slows down touring like almost immensely. Most people, there's
I mean,
holograms, and we don't have to go there, right? But I mean, for most
if
people, you're done.
well, if you're dead, it's really hard to tour. Unless,
It
of
is.
course, I was offered to be a hologram one time, and I thought, hey, it's hard enough to get a gig without having to compete with myself as a hologram.
You're
How
right. Like, wait
thin
till I'm
can you
gone.
make that hologram of me?
Didn't ABBA do the puppets too? ABBA did puppets, I think, at one point. They were going to do like a puppet thing or something. I don't know how that thing worked
No,
out for them. That'd be
puppets.
another way.
Puppets, okay. I mean,
Whatever it
what you
takes
mean,
to sit
like the
back.
Muppet Show or Jim Henson
I don't
puppet?
know. I never actually looked into it. I probably should now. They put it out there. There's some kind of
Yeah.
puppet presentation. I'm like, I don't know. People just trying wherever they can.
Oh
Um,
no! Don't tell
I
me I
want
have to
people to check
compete
out.
with a puppet.
I give up. Here's the deal. Like you have a dog is like the center of our family's world. So I can't, if I can't compete with my dog, I just give up. Like at this point, I'm just resigned to competing with nothing. You know what I mean? I just
What
go through my day.
what sort of dog do you have?
He is a mixed Australian Shepherd, Australian herding dog. He's like three different herding type of dogs with Bichon and Shih Tzu. So he's like 40 pounds of a terror. So he's
Oh
all
my
mixed
God.
breeds, and he's super, super smart, like evil smart, like evil genius smart, but he's also adorable and super, super affectionate. So he's a lot of fun. But he's also super,
Oh,
he does a lot of dog tricks, the spins. My kid taught him all the tricks. I got him playing piano a little bit, keyboard a little bit, not well, but he can play it for tricks and you know, he's a good dog. But once again, that becomes your priority. Um,
aren't they
you know,
amazing? I mean,
they're the best.
animals are just incredible. They're just so
They're
they're
better.
so
They're
they're
better than
so
people, right?
fresh. They're just fresh and in the now the whole time, and it's really fun, and when they're happy, they can't help themselves, and when they're sad, you just see it all. There's well, we have a poodle, and there can be a little bit of game playing here when it comes to how she's suddenly blind in one eye when she gets very hungry, and suddenly her paw is broken when she's very hungry, and she also shivers. I mean, this is like an hour after her last huge meal, and she's doing the I can't see because I'm so hungry. And then you say, okay, we'll give you a snack. And then, wow, suddenly she's
Miracle.
all good again.
I don't have that yet. He's still young. If even got that.
Oh, okay. Well, something to look forward to.
Well, no, he does the bones things. Like you have to let him out, and he does all the tricks of getting all his treats in his bones, and so that's our thing right now. At 2 years old.
Oh, only
It's funny.
two.
Only two. He's so young. I want to say I heard one thing that was funny. They said the reason why dogs live shorter lives. They say because dogs when they hit the ground running, they're born to love you automatically. They're forgiving. They don't have to build up to learn all these things that a human does. It takes a whole lifetime to learn. They come out in a short time is because they can do it right away, and
Yeah,
they're so open to everything,
yeah.
loving, forgiving from the minute they breathe. Whereas human beings, it takes us so many years to kind of learn it, and that's why it takes us a long time to live. That's a theory I like because it.
I love it. I think that's really
Yeah,
interesting because you're right. So like for example, my dog who is 13, she still has the innocence, even though she's kind
mhm.
of old in human years. She still has the innocence of a child because she hasn't been
Yeah,
corrupted by the world and
yeah,
corrupted by just, living.
yep. I mean, that's the best way. Be like a dog, if you can look that
Absolutely.
way. I know. I know you have a lot of interviews. I want to keep you on track too. I want to thank you for your time. Maybe we can be back again when you have a bigger window. We can nerd out over other stuff. But I want to encourage people. I'm going to put the links for your YouTube page. I want people to go there and support you on your socials. The new single is great, and and dogs. We'll end on that. You have a new book.
And Peggy Lee loves Cornwall. So Cornwall is a fantastic place. It's on the southwest of the
Yep.
United Kingdom. It's very, very, very wild and mysterious. And so yeah, two little books. I can just a sec. So here's the Cornwall book. Can you see that? Peggy Lee Loves Cornwall. Let
Yeah,
me see.
yeah. Well, it blurs up. There you go. Yeah, when you get closer, Ken grabs it. Your settings. Yep. It's in
That's
and
weird.
out.
My settings just it's almost like it almost only wants to see a face. Anyway,
Well, yeah, three-dimensional maybe because you got dimension and
I
the
can
book's
show you
flat.
the real thing. Do we have time for a quick?
Yeah, it's your schedule. Yeah,
Let's see if her face shows up. This will be interesting.
there we go. It should because my dog loves to show up on my videos. There we go.
Now, is she
The
in
star.
focus?
She is in focus. She doesn't want to. Not ready for her close-up yet, huh?
She's a little blurry, isn't she?
Well, in and
Yeah.
out, in and out. It's funny because I'll do it with my dog, and his leg will come in and out and vanish, and his head will be there. Because I'll be talking to somebody, he'll come up behind and climb on me. She's adorable.
Do you always
They are
have
the
people
best.
lifting their dogs into your podcast? I mean,
More than you'd think, yeah.
no,
Because
that's
you're a musician, and music people are creative, and if you are artists, whatever, I think artists are more tender. I mean, look at all the things of a black metal calendar, and it's like the artists with their cats and their dogs. You know what I mean? And their goth makeup on. Because you know what? Deep down inside, most artists are very, very sensitive, despite what the image is. You know what I mean?
yeah, they're
And
very
dogs and
sensitive, but
cats.
they're very sensitive, but it's quite a tough business. You come under a lot of criticism, especially since social media. People just they just blurt out all kinds of hateful things, which I don't look at, I don't read, I don't need to know about that. I pretty much got the measure of myself. I don't need anybody else's opinion about, my hair or anything else. It's fine. I'm all good with it. So although we're very, very sensitive because we have to be creative, we also have to be very tough because it's tough to go on the road
It's
and
hard.
it's tough to stand up to criticism. And sometimes you get up there and there's not many people in the crowd, and you still got to, turn it on, which is fine.
I can imagine it's very hard. I mean, for me, even at my show, people criticize me. I'm like, it's a free show. I'm talking to artists you like, and what because I'm not going for the dirt. I don't like dirt. One of the things that I started the show is I don't like that garbage. I don't need to
Good for
dig things. I
you.
want to talk about something. We can talk about dogs or this or grandparents or whatever. You let it flow and still talk about music. And people criticize it. I'm like, you know what? Don't watch it. Go watch. There's a million other videos out there. You want your free money back? I mean, you don't have to go to the channel or Spodcast. There's like
Yeah.
3.5 million podcasts out there. You don't have to stream me or go to YouTube or whatever those kids are doing at the time to hear
Yeah.
or hear or listen. It's
You
just
want your
why
free
be
money back.
negative?
I love that.
Yeah.
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 No,
People
you know
don't
what?
need a
This has
platform,
been
not
a
everyone.
real, this has been a beautiful experience because it's been really wholesome and you haven't tried to kind of trick me out on something. We're just having a nice conversation.
There's
Sean, I'll
nothing to
talk
trick
to
you
you
about.
anytime, but I'm off to the pub now. Wish you could come.
I wish I could too, actually. I'd have to drink the lighter beers. I can't do the heavy beers you guys do over there. I'm doing
Yeah, forget
the
about
lighter
the
ones.
heavy beers. Forget about the heavy beers. We just go for something like Camden Hells. It's a
I can do that.
really, really
Yeah,
good
I can do
lager.
that.
You could do
I
that
can do that.
easily. Mix in.
Let's do that again. Let's pick something up again in 2026. A little
Sounds
chat. We got
great.
a window of time. All right. I'll make sure I'm home so my dog can come on. You can see him.
That'd be
So,
wonderful.
okay.
Thank
People
you so
check out
much.
all of her stuff and click on the links too below. So I want to support her. She's a good singer, good performer. You take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.